Listen, I'm hyped. I'm very hyped. Genos is awesome. And I love voicing him in One Punch Man! I've voiced him a few times in How It Should Have Been, and I just love his character. Genos is fantastic. War Machine is also awesome. I consider him even cooler than Iron Man, design-wise. Like, character-wise, I think I prefer Iron Man. But I also really like War Machine. And some of the best shots in the Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War are just War Machine managing the Horde. But this is far from a fair fight, no matter how cool it is. I don't want to shit on Genos, but he has no chance. Here's what War Machine survived. That is War Machine. Before his armor was even War Machine. Like, this is the base level. This is the absolute minimum level for War Machine. This is an impact that shatters a mountain. It registers on a seismograph 7 miles away, and he keeps going. That's not the end of it. And let's consider the highest Genos calc that I can find is on Versus Wiki at 113 kilotons. Town level. That is nowhere near this level. Even to achieve a feat as incredible as this, it would be in One Punch Man. The only things I can think of are obviously the classic Star Roaring Cannon and Tatsumaki throwing Boros's rounds back. Those might be higher in calc than this one. Genos isn't at that level. That's not all that puts Genos in the dirt. And I'm not talking about how he loses 90% of his fights. He'd still be strong enough to wipe out, say, Bakugo from My Hero Academia, who wins almost the same amount of fights in his series as Genos loses in his. He'd still destroy Bakugo. Obviously, there's no competition there. That's not why Genos loses. And we all make the joke, Genos always loses, and he's like the Yamcha of One Punch Man. But like, even in Season 1, he did win a fight. He beat that Mecha Gorilla guy in, what was it, the third or fourth, maybe second. One of those episodes. But here's War Machine bothering Red Hulk with his repulsors. And that is more impressive than you might think. And oh hey, he survived a blast that hurt the hell out of Red Hulk. Look at this, taking hits from Wonder Man, who has defeated planetary and higher characters, and even managed to hurt Wonder Man. Look, he beat the crap out of Captain Marvel, only being stopped from totally stomping her when Iron Man shows up to take the win. He also took hits from Thor, and hurt Thor, and once caught Mjolnir at this closer range. His missile here nearly knocks out She-Hulk. He kept up with Living Lightning, who is what you think, and a guy who's just made of light. Even when piloted by a novice like Frank Castle, the armor can still take on Miss Marvel. I think it's fair enough to say the War Machine is consistently minimum planet level. Even if some of these planetary foes held back, and it's really hard to say they all did, but it's hard to say he took the full force of them. He can't take a full-blown hit from Thor. That guy can shatter galaxies. War Machine, lowballed, is at the level of someone like Boros, as long as you ignore the guidebook saying that the classic Star Roaring Cannon is star level, which I'm hesitant on, but it does say it. There is nothing to contradict it. A star level feat could still blow away the planet, so Boros saying he's going to destroy the planet still works. There's nothing to contradict it, but there's not much to support it either. But whether you want to use that is completely up to you, and I understand either way. Save for that, War Machine is at Boros' level. Minimum War Machine. Now, generally, Genos isn't as strong as Boros. He's not even as strong as Deep Sea King. He could take on Deep Sea King. Heck, maybe he is equal to Deep Sea King. But, And the fastest feat in One Punch Man saves Saitama and Boros, who are far beyond the scale of One Punch Man, and Garo as well. Of those three characters, and maybe even King Orochi, are just far above the rest of One Punch Man. The fastest feat I can find is from Flashy Flash, unsurprisingly. By the way, unpopular or maybe popular, I don't know the opinion of Flashy Flash. I think he's fucking awesome, even though his name is really dumb. But, we have Speed of Sound Sonic, so there are dumb names, One Punch Man, and that's one of the things that makes it so good. It's very self-aware. Flash is way faster than Genos, and his best feat put him at 0.17 times the speed of light. Yes, I think he's stated light speed, but he has no feats at light speed. This would put him at Mark 148,585. War Machine took on a guy made of light and consistently blocks his lasers. Now, this is not to say Rhodey has light speed reactions, but in the armor somehow allows him to deal with light speed enemies. And even if he doesn't, even if War Machine isn't, like, I mean, ignoring the light speed blocking, ignoring him catching Mjolnir, ignoring him matching characters who are light speed themselves, even if Genos is faster, you're gonna have a hard time arguing he wins. You'd have to ignore the extremely consistent planetary War Machine. And I mean extremely consistent. Not only does he scale to some of the more average Iron Man suits, who very consistently scale to planetary power at least, War Machine does as well. War Machine wins. Hands down. I don't even think Death Battle can twist this into a Genos win. Now let's talk about Leonardo versus Red Ranger. What a shock, right? Pretty much the moment I heard they weren't giving them abilities that are abnormal for their characters, I knew who'd win. Not because I think Death Battle were being biased, but Leonardo's best non-Chi, non-Dragon, non-Galactose related feats don't even compare to Jason's best. Of course, they brought out some feats I didn't know about, and that's fair. Like, I don't know everything about Power Rangers, and it's not fun researching Power Rangers. They didn't use Jason's most impressive feats. I have heard he's got even better ones, but no shock Leo lost. I'm not a fan of how they use Leo, though, because essentially what they've done is made up a new version of Leonardo that's never existed in canon. Death Battle's incarnation of Leonardo has all the best feats of strength, speed, and durability, featured by base-level Leonardos, while having only basic weaponry and skills they all have, and the teleporting sword. But he, okay, first off, there are multiple Leonardos who, even without Chi and without the dragons, have survived explosions way bigger than that one. And some of them have more impressive strength feats, like Raphael has a very impressive strength feat in Rise of the Ninja Turtles, but I don't think Leo can scale to that. But there are better feats for Leo, but Jason has better feats anyway. I don't think Leo stood a chance the moment I heard about the post that Ben made. I'm not a fan of the take on Leo generally. I think they should have stuck to one version of Leonardo and used everything. Like, I think the strongest versions of Leo were the 2012 and 2003 ones. I've also heard Rise of the Ninja Turtles is very powerful as well. I'm not counting comic ones, because then you can't show anything on screen, and that'd be boring. Now, they say they didn't want to alienate fans by not using their favorites, but hey, it didn't stop them with Optimus Prime. Fuck all fans of Prime, Unicron Trilogy, or Film Optimus, right? Fuck them. Especially the original RID Optimus, who's very different to most other Optimus Primes. Or any DC character where they'll alienate fans of Golden Age or New 52 characters. Or Hal Jordan. They could alienate fans of Jon Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, so on. Not to say all of these guarantee alienation, and obviously there's more viability to those versions of those characters than any version of Leo, save the original comic version. But using a specific version of the Turtles doesn't guarantee everyone feeling alienated. I'm just not a fan of this soft composite. A full composite, I think, would be better, but best when I think would be a specific Leo. The problem with this version of composite is that they can pretty much pick and choose whatever feats they want. Someone says, you forgot this feat, they could just say, yeah, we're not fans of that feat. We don't think that feat really illustrates Leonardo. So, if Leo, say, had a strength feat that's way above, way above Jason, and he did that feat in one version, which was consistent with that version of the character, this soft composite, Death Battle could say it's not consistent for Leo overall. Because obviously it won't be. Because this is still a somewhat of a composite. It's still combining elements of a bunch of different versions of the characters. But I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. But that's fine, honestly. The episode was great anyway. I enjoyed it a lot. As a casual Turtles fan who really loves the 2003 series, and most of the movies, apart from 3, even the TMNT animated film I found a guilty pleasure. I don't mind the second of the reboot live-action movies. I don't think it's great, but I didn't mind it. The first one, existed. But no, I quite enjoyed Leo's analysis. I don't care much for Jason, but Jesus Christ. The voice acting for Jason was just spectacular. Like, it could actually trick you into thinking they got Jason Giga for it. Or Geigo, I don't know how to pronounce his name. That's his actual name. I know he goes by a different name, like, professionally, but the Leo they use in the battle, I wasn't too fond of. I feel like it was a bit too jovial for the character. Like, I don't think it's consistently a thing for Leo to scream cowabunga. That's Mikey's thing. 1987 Leo doesn't do it that often, save for the Turtles Forever film, but that is a really dumb film. I like it, but it treats the 1987 Turtles like crap, and I don't care for the 1987 Turtles, but I really don't like how they portrayed him in that film, because they were all treated like Michelangelo. But Leo isn't goofy generally. Like, overall, across the consistent character points for him aren't really goofy like this one is. Like, this one, he's not goofy in the animation, but he just acts a bit weird. I think weird's the way. It's a bit off. But I'm fine with this, because I feel like this is close to a version. There's probably a version of Leo they're modeling it on. Like, I'm thinking it's probably based on Rise of the Ninja Turtles Leo, or maybe the 2012. I don't know how goofy the 2012 one is. He might not be goofy at all, because the 87 one in the original series wasn't that much of a goofster, at least any more than, like, he was the least goofy of the Turtles. That whole show's pretty goofy, but he wasn't especially goofy. And the 2003 and movie ones weren't goofy really at all. But you know what? I got to enjoy the 2003 style Shredder personality and voice for Shredder versus Samurai. So I'm totally fine with a different incarnation of Turtle franchise being used for the basis of this Leo. I already got to enjoy one of my favorite 2003 series characters in a death battle, pretty much. Why the hell is he standing out in the open without a disguise, though? Like, that's not really a thing I see Leo doing often. And with how it's portrayed, it seems like he just waltzed into the place and bought a slice of pizza. I can't see the 87, 2003 movie or comic incarnations doing that. Maybe 2012 Rise of the Ninja Turtles, because I don't know anything about those versions. But even that seems a little strange for a Ninja Turtle. What I will say, though, and they brought this up, and I'm very glad they did, is how stupid it is for a ninja to follow the ways of Bushido. I don't know if this might be a joke or something within the Ninja Turtle community, because I don't follow it. I wouldn't know if that's a joke within that community. The only communities I really follow are like the Death Battle versus debating ones, somewhat the Ruby one. It gets a bit toxic at some points. Godzilla one I follow every now and again, and the Transformers community, mostly through Chris McFeely. And sometimes I also follow the Danganronpa and Fake communities. But I don't know, maybe it's a joke in the Turtles that they make jokes about how these are ninjas following a samurai's way. But anyway, I really enjoy this episode. If more episodes in this season are like this one and Miles vs. Static, I foresee a very positive retrospective at the end of the year. And, is anyone else this hyped for Genos vs. War Machine? Like, it's hand-drawn apparently, which it's going to be very short if it's hand-drawn, admittedly. And I think they would be fine using sprites. There are fantastic sprites of Genos from Hacker 93, which I have used in the past for Genos vs. Gargiel. And there are definitely sprites for War Machine as well that could be used with that. Or even just ask their friends over it, or maybe not friends, but ask if Hyun's Dojo could let them use their Genos sprites. They probably wouldn't let them because they didn't leave on good terms, I don't think. I don't know, they might have. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. But hyped. I'm very hyped for Genos vs. War Machine. Love both of them. They better not fuck it up.